Hello there, my 1585ers, you wonderful individuals, you. This is Clyde Phillips coming right back at you again with another video. I know it's been a while. It's been extremely busy lately. Anyway, so while we're doing these FSD videos, and right now, for some reason, as you can see on the screen, it's reading the sign for school district. Even though there's a time limitation, so it's not following the time limitation, it's going with strict adherence to the sign. So there's the first wart on this rather tiny voyage we're going to have here. So while we're going here, I'll give you a blow-by-blow as far as the FSD and how I consider it being. So just to let you know up front, soft intervention is when I either tap the accelerator to get things moving, or I have to intervene with the signal stalk. Hard interventions, obviously, is where I have to actually take over the wheel, hit the brake, or anything drastic like that. So right now, I would prefer to be in the right lane because the road's fairly smooth, it's not super rough, and there's really no reason not to be traveling in the right lane unless passing. So, soft intervention. To make it easier, you can go into the settings under autopilot and say minimal lane changes. That usually keeps you pretty tight in the lane you're traveling in, unless there's circumstances that make it impossible to stay in it. Okay, so while FSD is taking on the rigors of chauffeuring me all the way back home, I want to address something which has really been bothering me. I've put out a couple other videos, I think, that slightly addressed it, but I was unwilling to go deep into the conversation because it's a very controversial one. So I hope you guys got your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, and you're ready to embark on a journey with me. And I'd really, really welcome your comments, your thoughts, everything, because what I'm going to try to do is be as unbiased as possible and present this for the debacle it actually is. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad. This stop was I should have actually dissolved that stop long ago, but I wasn't paying attention to that. Okay, let me begin, folks, and again, I apologize for the distractions. That was my fault. I was watching the road because, as you know, it's monitoring my attention, and I didn't see that we were coming up to a stop there. And I don't want to put the navigation voice on because then it's another debacle as well. So we have a situation going on in our world where there is strife and war raging in particular two main areas of the world. And let me begin by saying I abhor any type of conflicts that are manufactured and unnecessary. So I guess you could say there is a predetermined thought in my mind right there that these things have been influenced by outside conditions that have nothing to do with the combatants per se. Okay? Now, obviously it has something to do with the combatants because they are willing to take on these roles and do as they're doing. Or they may not be willing but are forced to be involved. So from my perspective, I look at this and I go, What does common sense tell me? And if you're a 1585er, you're probably going to be right along beside me here. Follow. That's right, you guessed it. Come on, finish the sentence. Follow the money. So if we follow the money, who is benefiting from these wars of attrition? First of all, let's determine what is war of attrition. If me and you are going to combat each other in a war of attrition, I'm going to try to deplete all your resources while you're going to try to deplete all of mine. So, does that benefit me? Give me your opinion. Does it benefit me? Does it benefit you? We're both embroiled in a massive energetic war where we are unaliving many of our family and friends. We are depleting all of our ammunition and our implements for applying those stores of ammunition. Did we gain from that yet? Please, just give me your opinion. I'd really love to hear it. Because in my mind, that's a question that really needs answered by many people. So let's look at it granularly. Right now, we look at Europe and we go, how is Europe faring through all of this? Okay, their resources are being depleted. They are offering up everything they have to one side of the conflict with, I'd say, very little hope of retrieving any of that back in their coffers. Unless, of course, they put everything into it and they somehow turn the tide, and then they're able to prosper on the resources of the land that they say they're trying to protect for the people of that land. So did the people of that land prosper? No, they didn't. They're being just wrecked, beaten down, and torn apart. Their entire future is hanging in the balance, and I believe it's already hit the tipping point where they may never, ever, ever recover. They would have to increase their population by about, I don't know, let's say 12 children for every 2 adults that are going to be left after this conflict. I don't see much chance in that. So think about that, folks. When these conflicts of attrition happen, how many of childbearing individuals, adults, whether male or female, and again, whether they're contributing to the childbearing or actually bearing the child, how many of them are going to be left at the end of these wars of attrition? And those that are left, how many of them are going to be in condition to be able to find a mate and then actually help to repopulate their areas? It's a very good question for everybody to try to answer, even for themselves. What's going to happen to the population of these places that are being depleted far beyond recognition? Can they recover? Look at the infrastructure and the buildings and everything that used to occupy those areas and those lands. How long is it going to take to rebuild that infrastructure and those buildings? Right now, I'm hearing estimates, and again, this is not my estimate, estimates from other experts that are saying it's quite possible that the minimum time going to be required to rebuild some of these places is 100 plus years. So the question is, folks, who's benefiting? If it's going to take 100 years to rebuild the destruction that's inflicted upon you, did you win? if you've expelled all of your energy and all of your resources to inflict that damage that will take 100 years to restore, did you win? If you took over that land that has been devastated beyond recognition, did you really win? Your responsibility now is to restore that land. Do you still have the resources? So, as you can see, folks, there's a lot of questions here, okay? And I didn't want to mention anything specific, real specific, but let me just say this. There are a couple of big financial institutions that are ready to rebuild Ukraine. It's still going to be a 100-year project. The financial burden that's going to come from this rebuilding is going to be immense. How are these entities thinking of actually recouping all of this investment that they're going to be putting forward? A good question to ask. Or have they already profited? Have they already obtained trillions of dollars? And if they did, how did they do it? So let's go back in the past and look at other wars that have gone on. The same big financial entities were funding both sides of these wars. And sitting back and rejoicing in the fact that these people were depleting those resources at amazing speed so they could replenish them through their proxies, the companies and entities that they invest in. So, indirectly, making tons of money. So, we know this, right? That in past wars, they've been funded by the same entities on both sides. They killed each other ravenously on both sides. And the onlookers were actually cheering for what? Well, in the media, they were cheering for one side or the other. But ostensibly, they were in the background going, we win no matter who wins, so we don't care. Keep killing each other. We'll keep watching. Folks, neither of these entities have ever won. None of them. They've been demolished. Their countries have been devastated, ruined, brought to rubble, with the prospects of rebuilding that were going to take immense efforts. Okay, I hope you're seeing an amazingly great FSD drive here. I mean, I am. Now I have to get rid of this stop, because if I don't, it's going to cause problems. Oh my Lord. Did I get it in time? Yes, I think I did. Okay, thanks for your patience. There's no more waypoints to disintegrate. Okay, so we're still on the same subject. Who is it that will gain from all of this? You have to answer that question. There's nothing else that matters right now, folks, because if you're taking one side or another of any of these conflicts, of course I can see where a lot of people would take the side of the underdogs, okay? And you know what? That's been my life since I was a young child. I've always fought on the side of the underdogs, and I've always tried to avenge the cruelty that came their way at the hands of real, honest bullies. Now, let me tell you something, though. There were a few, not very many, but there were a few incidences where I intervened and took care of who I thought was the bully, only to find out that the things that were occurring that caused that bully to act were even more horrendous than what I witnessed. So we have to take that into consideration as well when it comes to who you're rooting for. But that's up to you. You can root for anybody you'd like. Okay? You can root for the bully. You can root for the underdog, as we do in many, many movies. The protagonist seems to be, beloved by the audience because of some endearing qualities. So, again, that's an individual thing, an individual taste. I'm looking at it from the perspective of who is benefiting. So, therefore, why is this occurring? Because nobody in their right mind wants to be depleted to the point where they will never be able to recover. Oh, I thought I was doing a soft intervention there again, but it signaled on its own, and yes, continuing on the right way. Okay, so we're looking now at Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria. Who's winning there? Now, on the surface, we could say Turkey is winning, or Turkey, as most people know it as. So if Turkey is winning, what are they winning? Now, again, remember, we're using common sense because we are 1985ers. So Turkey's winning. What did they win? They've taken on a large portion of Syria, which they've always wanted to regain because they lost it in some arbitrary garbage like the Geneva Convention did to Africa. So they've got it back now, with millions and millions of people occupying those areas that are now their responsibility. Infrastructure has been depleted to a point where that responsibility is going to take a huge investment. An investment that I don't believe Turkey is ready to take on. So what did they win? Okay, how about Syria? What did Syria win? Well, now they're going to be ruled by a possible, actual ex-master terrorist who claims to now be reformed and is ready to do things in a proper manner that would actually benefit all the peoples of Syria that he's just assumed. So that is a possibility. But the other side of the coin is they're working with other entities that have another agenda that may not be as benevolent as what we're hearing. Because remember, you got to look at who is gaining. Who is actually gaining from the actions that are being taken? Folks, I don't have much time left to go over this. There are so many details, and I'm sure your mind is just going wild with all kinds of information tidbits that you've heard, that you've seen, that you may know personally. So I want you to say this to yourself. In each of these wars, that's in Ukraine, Russia, in Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, all of these places, what is the purpose? Why would these people still be going at it so fervently? Is it possible that they're being compelled somehow, or by some entity? And I don't mean extraterrestrials either. Go through the thought gymnastics and come up with your own conclusions. Again, remember, I'm going to try very, very much to be unbiased in all of my information sharing in the future of this channel. Because I don't believe that my opinion is really what stands supreme. Again, I go through the mental gymnastics with common sense at the forefront. Abilities to deduce things that are not right there on the surface. So I do have my own opinions, but they're not something that I'm going to be free and easy with, put it that way. Folks, let me know in the comments, what do you think? What is going on? And you know what? Whoa. Okay. I mean, it's quite the stop. We stopped. Okay. Woo. That was nice. And it wasn't crazy abrupt. It was just like a really hard stop. Smoothly done. I kind of liked it. All right. Folks, let me know in the comments. What do you think? What are we going to be doing here? I mean, you know what? Again, what do I say? Like, as 1585ers, we will never give up or give in because our brains are working and there's so much that we have to do. So far, we still have to go. So we must keep an open mind so we can gather knowledge, which, as we know and have always known, is the only power we truly possess, is knowledge. And sharing that knowledge helps to make sure that others possess some of that strength as well. So folks, stay healthy, stay safe, and above all, stay as happy as humanly possible, and we'll see you on the next one. Love you all. Ciao for now. Enjoy the rest of the trip. Now that may have looked a little strange, but I'm going to give FSD big marks for that. Because of the snow and possible slippery conditions, making that lane change, it did it very slowly and cautiously, and then slowly accelerated to a rate which I thought was perfect, because sometimes FSD just goes for it, and then the tire starts slipping, and then it goes crazy and says, take over immediately. This has been a flawless ride with no intervention. Well, I'm not there yet, so let me not say that yet. But as you can see, wow, FSD, you've done an amazing job on this drive. This is like icy covered slippery asphalt, and so far it's done amazing. My referral links are in the body of this post, so don't be afraid. Apparently we have another 30 days that have been given to us for referrals. The numbers have been reset, so all of those who have used my link so far, thank you very much. And any of you who would like to use it again, I can just tell you exactly what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting to get to my Cybertruck. So any referral that you guys wish to use will benefit me immensely. Oh, see that? That's because the slipping on the on this little incline here. Because we were, I'd say maybe I'd say maybe 3 or 5 kilometers too fast for that driveway. Thank you all. Love you all. We shall chat later.